I have 2:59. But if it's 3 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock. Okay.
Before I started, I want to make sure you're ready.
Yeah.
That is very precise.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the special meeting of the Madera County Transportation Authority. It is June 12th, 2024, 3 p.m. Call this meeting to order. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is public comment. This time is made available for comments from the public on matters within the board's jurisdiction that are not on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Attention is called to the fact that the board is prohibited by law from taking any substantive action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse conclusions should be drawn if the board does not respond to the public comment at this time. It is requested that no comments be made during this period on items that are on today's agenda. Members of the public may comment on any item that is on today's agenda when that item is called upon. Do we have any public comment?
There's nothing online.
Okay, thank you. I'll close public comment. MCTC, sitting as the Madera County 2006 Transportation Authority. There are no items there, so we'll move on to item 5, authority action discussion items. 5A, public hearing, Measure T 2024 renewal expenditure plan.
Good afternoon. President Neal, Deputy Director, Fiscal Supervisor. Just want to acknowledge that our Executive Director is with us online. She apologized she couldn't be here in person. I'm sure she might say some comments later. But this item is to conduct a public hearing on the Measure T 2024 renewal expenditure plan, and then to consider approval of it. As you know, the draft expenditure plan was presented to this board at the May 29th meeting, and then the board directed staff to send the plan to the local jurisdictions for approval. With us online is Kendall Flint, consultant with DKS Associates, to report back to the board on the outcome of that action. Kendall?
Thank you so much, Troy. Thank you, Madam Chairman and members of the board. We're at the exciting conclusion of this phase of Measure T's development, and I do want to report back that all 3 jurisdictions have approved the particular measure as it has been presented and have been giving some really good comments about that. In fact, the outcome has been unanimous with the exception of 1 vote in the city of Madera. So we will need to make some minor adjustments. I do want to point out there were some things that did come up out of our conversations. And I think you've all heard this because you've all seen me in the last week and a half making this presentation. But we have addressed, I believe, the question as it related to the description of local streets and roads. And as a reminder, the language was developed collaboratively between the cities of Chowchilla, Madera, and the county, with the intention of making it as flexible as possible for local agencies to be able to use those funds to its highest and best use. And as an example, City of Madera pointed out their public works staff that they needed references to alleyways, and the county pointed out that there needed to be references to both arterials and connectors. These roads are also local for many of our communities. So the description is a little broader than it might be in an urban environment. But for the county, the steering committee voted unanimously that they thought this was the best opportunity and approach to take that. We've also addressed concerns related to disadvantaged communities and the definition thereof. As a reminder, Madera County, should this pass, will become the first MPO in the state to actually have a set aside requiring a percentage, in this case 10%, that would be set aside for disadvantaged communities. This is only a bottom rung on that. It's a 10% at a minimum, but any jurisdiction can choose to go higher than that. There was comments made this week, and I know you all know this, but I just want to reiterate, even if Measure T passes, there will not be enough money for every project in every jurisdiction, disadvantaged or not. There just simply isn't enough money. But in this case, setting aside $1.7 million for disadvantaged communities will ensure that they will get a portion of the money every year. And yes, there is more than one community for sure. And one of the things that the committee really wanted to make sure is that communities like North Fork and others that had seniors would have access to those funds. So I do believe that this was a thoughtful deliberation by the steering committee. And again, it was unanimous. Finally, there is a question that was laid out about, outreach and engagement, how people will know. And we actually support suggestions made to make sure that it's memorialized in the measure to ensure that there is at a minimum a 30-day review period. So the staff recommendation and consultant recommendation is that this measure does move forward with two changes. One being striking the word unanimously under the first section of the plan, which relates to the additionally, 2 statistically valid telephone polls of all county residents were conducted. The plan has been unanimously supported and approved. We just want to strike unanimously, just has been supported and approved, as all 3 bodies did approve it. And under the section that is local streets and roads, in the second paragraph, we would like to suggest that the board request an amendment that says, following the words, each jurisdiction will annually identify specific streets and roads that will be prioritized for repair and or refurbishment, and hold annual public meetings to review the proposed plan not less than 30 days prior to adoption by the local jurisdiction and the MCTA board. I think from our conversations, one of the concerns that the public has had throughout this process is knowing where the money went. So to the extent that the agencies can extend that even further, we would say that's very supportive. If you feel like going 60, please feel fine to do that. But staff indicated that with the annual work plans, with regional transportation plan updates and other pieces, there would be opportunities for the public to weigh in. But with those 2 changes, we are suggesting that is what should go forward. And with that, I'll end my brief remarks and be available to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Kendall. Open it up to the commission members. Comments, questions?
No questions.
Okay.
This is a public hearing, Madam Chair, so we open the public hearing.
Okay, this is a public hearing. We'll now open the public hearing. Public comment?
Good afternoon, supervisors. Good afternoon, Kendall. Thank you everyone for being here and the opportunity to comment. My name is Madera. I'm a policy advocate for Leadership Council. As a Leadership Council, I work closest with communities and Madera and Madera. I want to start by saying thank you for your response and for making the addition of the 30-day comment period. I know it's something that community members are really looking forward to hearing. And just to continue the conversations and some of the topics that I've been bringing up, I've also heard at the city council meetings, this measure passed with the exception, and everybody voting yes. However, with the exception of one council member in the city of Madera. However, I've also still heard concerns over the definition of disadvantaged communities and how that is being defined. And one of the responses I've gotten a lot in conversation with elected officials is that there are more communities besides Fairmead and Lavina, and exactly because there are more communities than Fairmead and Lavina is why I think that there should be a closer look at what disadvantaged communities are. This is a great step that Madera County Transportation Commission is taking into creating a set aside. However, I think it would be great to ensure that these funds are really going to be going to the most disadvantaged communities and communities that have been historically underserved. As Kendall mentioned, and the response mentioned right now, and the response from Patricia Taylor to my comment letter stated, this is a minimum requirement, and more jurisdictions could potentially serve more disadvantaged communities beyond the 10%. She said that in this case, after that, the pavement management index could be used to serve these communities. However, a lot of these underserved communities that are disadvantaged don't have a big population, which is exactly why they've already been leaving behind. So we're saying that the system that is going to be used after the set aside is used is going to be the payment management index, which is in place. There's not going to be a change because we're seeing that it's already leaving communities behind. In addition, thank you to Ms. Patricia Taylor for your response once again. However, there are still a couple of things that were left off, including just concerns that these funds will not go into new developing communities, explicitly stating that the funds for local streets and roads will stay at and local streets and roads, and that they won't be used for regional transportation projects as a last bullet from the Measure T plan states that it can be used. So for these reasons, I please urge you to take your time in making the final edits. It has the potential to do a lot of great to the community. So I urge you to please make these changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Do we have anyone online?
Hands raised for online.
Okay, I'll now close public comment for the public hearing, or do we have to vote before I close it?
Yeah, the first reading.
Sorry.
So it comes back to the board to consider comments and any other changes, and then a motion will be made to approve the plan with the any recommended changes.
Anyone?
Looking for a motion?
Or comments, whatever?
I won't come.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve the item with the two staff recommended changes.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5B, consider the first reading of an ordinance to renew Measure T sales tax before the Madera County 2006 Transportation Authority Ordinance number 2024-01.
Yes, Madam Chair, this item is to introduce ordinance 2024-01, renewing the Measure T sales tax for a period of 20 years. Staff recommends waiving the first reading and adopting the ordinance by motion. The second reading of the ordinance will be at next week's regular meeting on June 19th. I kind of go with any questions.
Questions from the commissioners? I'll open public comment on this item. Any public comment online? None? I'll close public comment and bring it back to the commission.
Move to wait further reading and approve the subject ordinance as introduced.
You have to read it from the,
Oh,
sorry.
motion to introduce, I make a motion to introduce Madera County Transportation Authority Measure T, renewal ordinance number 2024-01 by title only and waive the first reading. Also,
I have first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? A motion carries. Thank you. Next item is miscellaneous. Any items from staff?
Staff does not have any items here. Tricia, did you have any items?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone for, pulling the expenditure plan, the steering committee, the staff work, Kendall, DKS. Great job moving this forward. Our work's not done though. So we will be doing a lot of public education moving forward within the next steps. And next week we do have another meeting on the 19th. And Troy's been working with the audio, so hopefully we'll have that all set and done by next week. And just wanted to let you all know that there will be a couple of additional items next month, and it's outlined our next steps as well. So good work, and we look forward to moving forward with the next steps.
Thank you, Patricia. Next item is items from Caltrans. They're not here unless they submitted something. Nothing. Okay. Item 60. Anything from the commissioners? Commissioner Rodriguez, Commissioner Gallego. All right. Well, with that, we stand adjourned. Thank you very much.
Kendall.
Thank you.